Okay, for this screencast, we're going to go over something called arrays. So if I type in x equals 1 into MATLAB and I type in whos, notice that x is a 1 by 1. What that means is that there is one column and one row, right? It's a 1 by 1 matrix. Now, to create a, say, larger array matrix, what you do is you add brackets. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and then an end bracket. So what that'll do is now x is 1, 2, 3, 4, and if I type in whos, it is a 1 by 4. It's one row, 4 columns. Say I want to make a 4 by 1. Brackets again, 1, and now instead of a space, I do a semicolon in between each one. And the spaces don't matter, I'm just doing this for ease of reading. But if I do semicolons and I hit enter, now notice that the variables are in a column. So if I type in whos, x is now a 4 by 1. It is 4 rows, 1 column. Now one thing that I didn't touch on is notice that when I typed in x equals 1, x was 8 bytes. When I did x equals 1, 2, 3, 4 with brackets, x was 1 by 4. Notice that it's 32 bytes now because 8 times 4 is 32 bytes. So if I do x equals 21, 40, 34, 67, 89, square root of 2, right? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers, which means that it is 40 bytes. So you can imagine if you have very, very large arrays, you're going to use a lot of memory on your computer, all right? Now there's two more things that I want to talk about for arrays. If you do x equals 1, 2, 3, 4, that will make a row. But if you put a little tick mark, you see this little tick mark here? That's a single quotation. That is a transpose operator. And what that will do is transpose the 1 by 4 into a 4 by 1. See that? So if I say x row is 1, 2, 3, 4, I can say x column is x row tick mark. And the tick mark will transpose x row, and then when I type in whos, x row is a 1 by 4, x column is a 4 by 1. Okay, so how do you make, say, a 4 by 4 or a 2 by 2? Well, to do that, you would say a is 1, 2, that would make a 1 by 2, and then if you put a semicolon and do 3, 4, now suddenly you have a 1 by 2 concatenated with a 1 by 2, so you get a 2 by 2. And if you type in whos, a is a 2 by 2. And again, there are 4 numbers, so you need 32 bytes. All right? So again, you can make, say you want to make a 4 by 4, we have x row, right? I could do a equals x row, semicolon 2 times x row, semicolon square root of x row, semicolon negative x row. And what that'll do is it'll take x row, put it in here. It'll take x row times 2, put it in here. Take the square root of x row and put it in here. And then take the negative x row, put it in here. And when I hit enter, notice how I now have a 4 by 4 matrix. So when I type in whos, 8 is a 4 by 4. That's 16 numbers, so I have 128 bytes. Okay? Now, what if I want all the numbers, say I want all the numbers between 1 and 10. Sorry, 10. I could do x equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? But that takes forever. The other way I can do it is I can actually do x equals 1, colon, 1, 10. And that'll give me the exact same thing. What that means is the MATLAB computer will start at 1, increment by 1, and go to 10. So say I want all the even numbers. Say I want all the even numbers between 2 and 10. Well, then I would just do x equals 2, increment by 2, and go to 10. And now I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Right? Now I can do this. What if I want all the even numbers between 2 and 100? I could say 2 to 100. And now it'll give me all of the even numbers from 2 to 100. And if I type in whos, notice x is a 1 by 50 now, because there are 50 even numbers between 100. Now there's another thing you can do. I can do x equals 1, 1, 10. That'll give me all the numbers between 1 and 10. Or I can use a function called linspace. And what linspace will do is I say I want to start at 1, go to 10, and I want 5 numbers. So what that'll do is it'll find a increment such that you have 5 numbers in between 1 and 10. Now if I say 1 comma 10 comma 10, now I have 10 numbers in between there. But I could even say I want 20 numbers. So now I have 20 numbers in between 1 and 10. And if I do whos, notice that x is a 1 by 20. If I come back to linspace and I say I only want 3 numbers, and I type in whos, x is a 1 by 3. Okay? Now, typing in whos to figure out how long a vector is can get pretty annoying. So the last thing I'm going to show you in this video is something called the length command. So if I do length of x, I get 3. Why? Because the size of x is a 1 by 3. If I do the length of x column, I get 4 because x column is a 4 by 1. If I do the length of x row, I get 4 because x row is a 1 by 4. If I say x is 1, 1, 100, and I do the length of x now, I get 100 because the length of x is 100. Now, remember that A is a 4 by 4 matrix. If I do length of A, I get 4. What if A was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Now A is a 2 by 3. If I type in length of A, I get 3. What length does for a matrix gives you the largest dimension in A. So instead, for matrices, what you want to do is you want to do size of A, and then it'll give you 2, 3. So if I say S equals size of A, and I type in whos, S is a 1 by 2, and it's the size of the matrix A. It is 2 rows and 3 columns. So remember, length for vectors, size for matrices.